Fuckery.
You are so
Fuckery. 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 Fuckery.
fuckery, 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 fuckery,
Let's go. Don't wanna give me no job.
fuckery,
Me girl I got long bad. She ask money me no have. Just do the dance move, get mad. 2 times to the left.
What's going on, people? A lot of you probably heard the news, and of course, for those of you who follow me, you know that I'm a big hip hop head. That's one of the first things I grew up on before the whole getting into the whole dancehall scene, the Jamaican dancehall scene. DMX, rest in peace. He was one of the biggest names in hip hop, especially in the tri-state area. If you didn't know who that was, shit, you got to be. There's people that weren't even big fans of hip hop music, but knew about DMX. Okay, and of course, a lot of you know that I'm not too far from Stamford, Connecticut, like 2 minutes away, maybe okay, 5 minute drive. And Yonkers, New York is definitely no more than 20 minutes of a drive. It's kind of shocking because he was only 50 years old. You know what I mean? This man had at least 20 years left of his life. Now, I know the whole addiction and stuff like that, but 50 is still a young age. One thing I learned throughout the years, and I think this is, I'm not going to say perfect time, but the right time. As we get older, we learn different things. We listen to people. We hear other people's perspectives, and then we start to think like, okay, maybe I shouldn't feel this way or think just this way. When it came down to this whole thing, like addiction is a disease, I really felt that a lot of people just make that excuse. They just run from their problems. They just make up excuses to take the blame off them. Yes, that can be true, but addiction is real. I think almost everybody has an addiction of some sort. I felt like going out was one of my addictions, partying. Because, in my early 20s, I didn't have much anyway growing up. So, you know how it is when you grow up poor. It's not. Most likely, it's going to be really hard for you to get out of that situation. Statistically, it shows people. But I had a fucking basic grocery store job, working at ShopRite, Stop and Shop, whatever. Well, it's like Stop and Shop. I don't know if there's ShopRites in your area, so that's what Stop and Shop, a grocery store. I was making like $8 an hour. I got hired at $8 in 2008. You know what I mean? And at that time, I was just like, yo, I don't have to ask nobody for nothing, even though it wasn't much. I didn't have to ask my mom for lunch money or anything like that, or to buy shit. You know what I mean? And then, I got introduced to the whole party scene, and I wasn't used to going out because I couldn't go nowhere really, because I couldn't afford to go most places. And then I went out, and then I realized like, yo, this is so much fun. And then, me dancing, that gets, the attention of, women. And, I wasn't one of the like a playboy. I wasn't a player. I wasn't like a dude who's been with so many different women. But I've been with a good amount. And I kind of got addicted to that because in high school, I graduated a virgin because I was fucking nervous. I was always nervous. And then after the whole club scene, I got introduced to that shit before I started going to clubs when I was 19 with the whole dancing shit. So it goes to show you, like, and at the age of 20, that's when shit happened. And then I got introduced to that, and then going out was just my getaway. And, um, you know, I, I felt like I was addicted to it. And of course, you end up getting addicted to sexual activities because when you first start doing it, then you say, "Oh, this shit is good," and then I started getting addicted to that, and I felt like everyone has that. It can be hell. I know, and I don't want none of you getting at me. It can happen with games too. There's times where I played games for hours and hours and hours and hours. You know what I mean? And not saying some of you, especially if you're a gamer and you got your own channel and and you're making money, you know what I mean? But sometimes you gotta realize, am I using this thing, whether that be video games, partying, drinking, smoking, having sex with mad different people, is that, like, what am I hiding from? What am I running from? You know what I mean? So the thing about DMX, people judge that addiction shit, and I look at it and I say, I used to look back at it and say, yo, how can you get addicted to this so and so, this drug and all of that. And then I've heard the story, Roxanne Shante, who was a popular, one of the first female rappers that was like, battling people like and shit like that. If you guys don't know who that is, just look her up. She just did a live video talking about DMX that I didn't know about. How his mom just left him like at a foster home or orphan. I don't know. I can't remember now. But and then hearing DMX's story when he was doing an interview with Mos Def, another rapper from New York, if you guys don't know, about how. Or should I say Talib Kweli? Damn, my bad. Talib Kweli. How he smoked a blunt with someone he looked up to, someone that he cared, like he looked up to as like a role model, and the guy laced the blunt with crack. That's disgusting. And he said, I can't believe why he did that. Like, why would you do that? And it's just like, I don't think he got the chance to say why or whatever happened to them in the future, if he maybe kicked his ass one day, or I don't know. But like, I think that probably triggered the addiction. And then of course, foster homes, Roxanne Shante was saying that can, back then, even now, like sometimes, like she even said, some people will become foster parents because they were foster children, or they care for kids. And then she said some of them do it for the check, and they're not good to the kids. And that's, so I don't know what else happened to DMX personally through those years. And that's why sometimes you may not understand why someone's addicted to it, but they're probably battling some demons that you just don't understand. And don't call me when I'm making a video. And it's just sad, I mean? Like, I said this before, a lot of, I've listened to a lot of rappers, and I've tried to get to know them, like not like learn their story or, get, know how they grew up, learn about them. But sometimes it's a lot, and you just say, yo, like, I really enjoy the music, but sometimes it's just too much, especially after a certain age. I was just like, I never like went deep into their personal lives because, you know what I mean? I don't want to be like that type of person who's like, oh, look what they're doing. Like, I don't, person doesn't bother me, but, it's crazy. Because that was the one dude that I remember as a kid when he first came out with that Stop, Drop. I remember this was 98. My brothers were like young. I was 8 years. No, wait. When did he? did he drop it? I think I was like 8 years old. Yeah. And then, people at the beach, just in groups, partying. Like, not even partying, just hanging out at the beach. Like, you know what I mean? The 90s were the times where people were just meeting up at the beach, hanging out, because there's really nothing else to do. There was no smartphones back then. So, oh, man. It's kind of weird, man. You know what I mean? It's just like, it happened so quickly. Like, you heard when he was in the hospital, but I didn't think that it was going to happen. You know what I mean? But, hey, man. Rest in peace to DMX. My condolences to his family, the whole Rough Riders camp. And that's it. And I heard they're going to put a thing of him in Yonkers, like a statue. That's pretty good. They should do that. And I read something. Hopefully it's true. If I heard he had some kind of debt, like Jay-Z paid it off, or and like they bought his masters or whatever like that. If that's true, that's great. You know what I mean? That way his kids, I guess they're going to give it to his kids, and everything that he couldn't have because he was in debt or some shit, like his kids are good with it. You know what I mean? So if that's the case, that's beautiful. But yeah. Yeah, man. I had to just, say that. Like, it's just really sad. But anyway, only thing that we could do is just keep him in our memories, and remember the good things that he did, and he stood by. He did his preaching stuff. Even though I'm not really religious, I do believe in an afterlife. I do believe in God, but him preaching and trying to get better is that's what counted. You know what I mean? There's and nobody should judge him, like I said, because you have these preachers, you have these people who are in the churches who do the dirtiest things anyway. People are judging him because of his addiction, but meanwhile, you're a preacher, you're this, you're that, you're a pastor, you're this and this, you're cheating on your wife, you're having sex with sex workers, you're going to strip clubs, you're doing other dirty shit. You know what I mean? Don't talk shit about DMX because of his addiction. Meanwhile, you can't even be faithful to to your wife, who you say God gave to you, or your husband. You know what I mean? So, whatever.